Yeah, we're only doing that intro for a minute this time. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode today of BSing Sports because the Phillies won Game 1 in the World fucking Series.
Goddamn, Bobby, gosh darn right.
As predicted by all three people on BSing Sports, the Phillies won Game 1 of the World Series.
We have one more guest joining us eventually. I have to send the invite. But yes, BSing Sports, where we do a little BS. We talk a whole lot of sports, part of the BSN network. Thank you for letting me add that little tidbit in there. But yes, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here. Phillies are 1-0 in the World Series. Nobody else but us, Ryan and I, and Timmy, obviously, thinking that would happen. And yeah, let's get into it. Ryan, you fire away while I join our other guest.
So the Phillies win. That's all we need to know, baby. Jason, I'll start with you. Why don't you go ahead and what stood out to you in Game 1 here?
Obviously, the Phillies coming back. And I think if anybody, Ryan, had any doubts about the Phillies' ability to come back, especially from big deficits and crucial games, I think they answered all the questions tonight. And really, Ryan, I live out here on the West Coast, so I don't watch a lot of Phillies games. But watching them throughout this postseason, one thing that amazes me is that they are a surprisingly sneaky deep team, 1 through 9, meaning that Rob Thompson, as the manager, seems to know, unlike certain managers, Dave Roberts, seems to know what guys to put in spots in the lineup that can produce on a nightly basis. He's found the right combination of hitters to work in that lineup. And when you look at the Phillies on paper, yeah, you see Bryce Harper, great, yeah, former MVP. But then you see guys like Alec Boehm, you see guys like Bryson Stott, and you say to yourself, oh, these guys aren't going to do anything. But yet they go out there and they keep getting hits in 2-out situations. They're making adjustments in 2-strike situations. So what I saw tonight was a perfect blend of that lineup 1 through 9 that played all 27 outs, and they really worked Verlander hard tonight. That's what impressed me the most about him.
Yeah, Darren, Darren, a new guest from Fat Boy Fade Away. We'll let you go ahead. Give your take. What stood out to you, Game 1?
Well, first of all, just thank you for having me on your podcast just to begin with there. Thanks for joining me here. The thing that stood out to me was I was on with Logan the other day. As the thing that stood out to me was the gut punch that the Phillies that they delivered right there. Like as an A's fan here, I remember the Dodgers giving the A's a gut punch, and those make a difference in a Game 1.
Yeah, baby.
When you're a heavy favorite. So I did pick the Astros coming in 5, but I did tell Logan ahead of time, if there's a gut punch in Game 1, that changes the series, because I feel like as the underdog, you need just that kind of like vibe going in. And now the Astros are like, well, shit. Well, maybe we are screwed a little bit. Maybe they are just too hot right now. You know what I mean? Like, they came back from 5-0. Are you freaking kidding me? This isn't like some normal comeback in a World Series. It's against Verlander. You know what I mean? Like, don't give me the struggles. That it's still Verlander at that moment in the game, up 5-0. So I was impressed.
Hey, Logan. So for what it's worth, right? For all of you guys and everybody, I'm sorry to cut you off there, Ryan. I'm going to jump in here, right?
You're a host on this show. You will let the guest speak first, or I will mute you. Logan.
The last time I checked, BSing Sports is Brandt and Swift. I'm Bill Brandt. You're Ryan Swift. I can talk.
And Brandt's about to get kicked out. Be a good host. Logan, go ahead.
Listen, the Astros took a 5-0 lead, and I was texting Ryan earlier. I said, hey, are we going live tonight? Because I found some pot edibles called trips that are for old people. And I was really excited to take that. And then the Phillies decided to disappoint me and end up winning the game. So I'm here now. Luckily, I hadn't eaten anything yet. But don't worry, I'm fine. But yeah, it's a heck of a game. This was the game that I expected the Phillies to win. The only game I expected the Phillies to win in this entire series. If you watched, anyways, it's fine. I'm only helping you Philly fans. You may be hating me right now, but I'm the MVP of this series, so it's fine.
But yeah, it was a pick against the Phillies every other series that they played. So
At this point, I have to. So you're welcome. But anyways, yeah, it was just amazing how it just didn't deter him, and how stupid of Dusty Baker to not take Verlander out earlier when it was 5-3. Honestly, I think that was a boneheaded move. I get that Justin Verlander is the Cy Young this year, but I mean, it just seemed like Verlander did not have it, and we were talking before, like Verlander does not do well on extended rest, and everyone knew that. Dusty Baker knew that. Everyone knew that. Everyone in the crowd knew that, and so it just seemed a little bit dumb to be letting him go out there when he obviously, when the Phillies had his number in the fourth inning, was it?
Yes,
Yeah.
top of the fourth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it was just a boneheaded move on his part. Verlander needs to be better in the clutch like that. But I mean, good Lord.
Yeah, no, seriously, I 100% agree with you. For Dusty to send Verlander out again after the Phillies had shown resilience against him, it was a questionable move, right? However, Verlander had retired the first 9 with zero resilience, zero resistance, rather. I meant resistance. You're talking 1 through 9 for the Phillies lineup when 0 for 9 in what was it, 29 pitches? That's a really good starting pitcher line. So I understand why Verlander got when you're talking about like leashes, essentially for like starting pitchers, like, oh, we're gonna pull the collar back, the leash back, because they're doing X, Y, and Z. It's the World Series. He's Justin Verlander. He's been in the league for 17 seasons. He's had poor World Series stats. However, he's still Justin Verlander, and he pitched very well in the regular season. He had one bad game in the postseason. You give him the benefit of the doubt. Try and work your way out of it. And obviously, he didn't do it here, and it's unfortunate. Now, before I relinquish all those comments to my other co-hosts here, I want to introduce Kyle. He's our boy here in New Jersey. He's a Phillies fan, and he's also one of the contributors here to BSN Network. Which is super important for Ryan and I as part of BSing Sports, BSN Network. So, Kyle, give us your opinions here on tonight's game.
My opinions on the game?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was just happy that the Phillies got the pennant. So getting that win, I think that gives them a lot of momentum and moving forward. So that's good. We'll be back home soon. So, just looking forward to the games. I'm happy as hell just to be in the World Series. So there's that.
Here's what I saw from game 1. From the rip, I text my buddy. I said, Verlander doesn't look good. Every fastball, even the first time around, every fastball he threw was either up, in the middle of the plate, or both. Every single one. And the Phillies hitters were just not hitting it. And I was like, they're going to come close. It's going to happen. And then it bit him the second time through. That's when the top of the fourth rolled around, and they were lasering his fastball all over the field. It just wasn't happening for him. Every pitch was above the belt. Even most of his curveballs started up. He wasn't pitching well. The Phillies it looked like that 4-day layoff kind of got to them. And that's what I mentioned on our show. I said I was very nervous about the Phillies' momentum dying. The Phillies had gotten as far as they had because they were riding this massive wave of momentum that playoff baseball allows you to ride. And being off for 4 days was going to be their worst nightmare. But as soon as they shook that, I'm going to tell you what, I am firmly standing behind the fact that the Phillies are going to win this in 6. That is life-sucking from the Astros to have your ace on the mound, go ahead and blow a 5-0 lead, and then your immaculate bullpen to this point in the postseason go ahead and give up a home run like that. And then Robertson shuts the door with 2 in scoring position and only 1 out or 2 outs. The Astros, I mean, they might come back and, win tomorrow. But as far as a series outlook, this completely changes everything. The Phillies have that big wave of momentum back on their side for sure.
Jason, respond to that.
Yeah, I agree with Ryan. You know, there's always in baseball, there's always been, especially in the postseason, an argument of what is the most important game to win in any postseason? Is it game one or game two? I think it's game one, especially when you win it on another team's home turf, because when you do, you not only steal that momentum, but you steal that fan energy from the home crowd in the ballpark. And we saw it earlier tonight when the Astros were up 5-0. Minute Maid Park was rocking. It was like a launching pad out there. And when Verlander started to fold like paper mache, you could start to feel that momentum change. And now getting back to what Ryan said earlier, this now is going to put a lot more pressure on Framber Valdez. Is he going to start game two, guys, or is he starting game three?
I would imagine
Two.
he starts two.
These two.
Okay,
They announced tonight that he was
Wheeler
starting
versus
game two.
Valdez.
Okay, so yeah, this now puts all the pressure on the world on Framber Valdez, because if he goes out there tomorrow and he gets lit up like a Christmas tree, all of a sudden the Astros are going to Philly facing a must-win in game three, and there's no guarantee that they're going to win at Citizens Bank, which is one of the most raucous places to try and win a game if you're a road team. So I completely agree with Ryan. This game one win was huge. They sucked all the air and all of the life out of that Houston crowd in the dugout. Big win for the Phils tonight.
Ryan, your rebuttal?
Thank you for complimenting me, Jason. I appreciate
Hey,
that.
I may be a
agreement.
Dodger fan, but I'm an objective Dodger fan, guys.
No, I want to give everybody their chance. So, Logan, fire away with your comments.
Can we address the John Ferris comment real quick? With
Yes,
Wheeler
I would love to. Yes,
with
here we go.
Wheeler being hot in the playoffs, Phillies got game two. Can you please knock on some wood? Listen, we just had Kyle Tucker go on and be like, "We're gonna sweep in four."
Dude,
like,
what a jackass. Fuck
that
Kyle
was
Tucker.
totally like eat a bag of dicks, Kyle Tucker. Good God. You're a piece of shit. I mean, good Lord. How stupid do you have to be? Does no one understand this fucking game? You do not fucking mess with the jinx. Good Lord.
Here we go.
Oh, my God.
Yes,
Fucking damn it.
seriously, I freaking love it. I love it. Keep going.
Like, Kyle Tucker needs to be tarred and feathered right now. I'm not even joking. He needs to be released right now. Like, honestly, like, in order to make everything all right with the universe, just release him. Cut ties with him right now. I don't care if he hit 2 home runs. He just got his body slammed against the wall trying to catch Real Muto's home run. And that was I almost came right there whenever that happened. I mean, good Lord. And I'm not even the biggest Phillies fan on this website. Good Lord.
Can we talk about this Ted? We're on the Kyle Tucker thing. Can we talk about that Ted Williams shit real quick? Like, this could not have happened to a better fucking douchebag than Kyle Tucker. Fuck you, Kyle Tucker. I can't stand
Fuck you. God, and I don't even hate the Astros, but God damn it.
All right. Let's reel it back in. Darren, your thoughts, Darren.
Well, I'm going to keep it a little bit more rational than Logan there for just a second. Just to bring us back here a little bit because I appreciate him for that, and so I'll bring him back here. I'm gonna be the guy on this podcast that keeps it a little bit more. Obviously, you guys are riding high with the Philly. Tucker, let's be realistic. He did fucking back it up, man. I mean, I'm just saying, if you're playing an individual story, I'm just saying, we're gonna beat him in 4. He did his part. You hit 2 home runs, you have 5, but that doesn't mean the karma part is not real, and that part is real in baseball, and that does screw you over, and that obviously did come back to bite him in the ass. I do want to just bring the point real quick. You guys brought up Verlander coming out earlier in the game, or Logan, I think you can't take out Verlander. You walk to the mound and take him out 3 1/3. You know what I mean? He threw 90 pitches overall. He didn't throw a ton. He just struggled in inning. I thought his curveball was terrible today. You mentioned Ryan, his fastball location. His curveball location was even worse. I mean, he hung both hits that they got for doubles were just hangers. That's not what Verlander does in those situations as well. So I thought he struggled a bit. But the Phillies have the momentum now. They're like Jason said up top there. Like, I mean, the pressure's on Valdez now. He has to deliver. Like, I like that. His stuff is unreal. But Wheeler's right there with him. So it will be an interesting game too. And the pressure is all on you. It'll be interesting if Houston did win, how that game 3 in Philly win. That'd be an interesting dynamic going forward too.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah, no, I expect tomorrow's pitching matchup to be a little bit different than the one that was going on today. I mean, obviously Nola and Verlander just didn't have it today. Both of them got tagged. I don't expect the same thing tomorrow. I expect Wheeler and Valdez to come out and, be firing on all cylinders. And as I touched on, it's the Phillies' late offense versus the Astros bullpen. That's going to continue to be the difference in this series. The Phillies have relied on late game clutch hitting to get to where they are right now, and the Astros to this point had only allowed 2 earned runs. And even today, the bullpen didn't do a bad job. I mean, eventually one of them was going to break, and it just happened to be the Astros. That's going to continue to be the story of this series going forward.
Ryan, quick question for you. If Castellanos doesn't make that catch,
please don't say that name on the. I knew somebody was going to say Castellanos.
I was about to. Jason.
Can we talk about this? Hector Neris was on the Phillies for years. This motherfucker couldn't throw a strike if it would have cured fucking cancer. Right?
Ryan, don't curse.
Why are you going up to the plate?
We don't curse.
Swinging at all. Like Neris can't throw a strike.
Hector's House of Horrors. I remember him. Yes.
Now, Hector Neris is the worst relief pitcher I've ever watched in my whole life. Like, I watched Jamie Moyer pitch when he was 87 years old, walking out there showing the umpire his AARP card. And Hector Neris is terrible. Like, the dude can't throw a strike, man. If I went up to him and said, here's $100, put a splitter in the zone, dude, I bet you I give him 10 pitches and not a single one of them comes close. And then you got Castellanos up here. Okay, I'm going to take the first pitch because the bases are loaded. And then he does that. He sees the same exact pitch and swings at it. I'm like, dude, you've got to be kidding me.
Hey, for what it's worth, as a Phillies fan, listen, Castellanos swings at the first pitch. We know that. We definitely know that. And pitchers are obviously gearing up to challenge that. But if a pitcher like in the bullpen, i.e. Neris, gives him a splitter, which we know Neris can hang, over the middle of the plate, which we know Neris has done, and Castellanos' first pitch swings and hits it out of the park, we're not having this conversation. And I strongly believe in that. I really do. Look, I agree that Cass should not swing at every first pitch strike or first pitch. I firmly believe that. I argue with it. I scream at the TV every time he does it. But I got you. Doc is apparently causing some issues. But if he first pitch swings and hits a home run, like who in Philadelphia is arguing with that? Like there's nobody in Philadelphia arguing with that. And that's the reality of it. However, we missed one person before we jumped into everything else talking about that. Kyle, how do you feel about the first game of the World Series? Kyle.
I don't know. I mean, it was pretty good. I mean, it was a real nail biter there at the end, but
well, yeah,
had me a little stressed out. My blood pressure's still coming down a little bit, but
Ticker's still there.
I enjoyed it.
How do you feel? Because I want to go in reverse order now. How do you feel about the series in general? Do the Phillies with a 1-0 start continue to dominate, or do the Astros come back, Kyle?
I mean, I think Jason said before, I believe, about how all that momentum got sucked out of them, all the life and everything.
Yes.
At that loss, I think that is going to hit them hard, but, I think they're a resilient ball club, so, they're going to be ready for game 2, and I think it's just going to be a hell of a series. It's going to be, like you said, it's going to be back and forth, and it's going to be a real crazy series where, it's going to be tied up here and there for a long period of time, and then it could just be the team that just wins that, by that last run,
And who do you think that will be?
I mean, I have to go with the Phils because, I'm a Philly fan, but I don't know. I mean, after what I saw tonight, I wasn't sure if the Phils could beat this team, but after tonight, I'm pretty sure that we got this now. That's what I think.
Yes, and I agree.
I think the Astros split the home, they win tomorrow, and then But
I
I think it's really hard to beat Houston twice
Yeah.
in their own home field. So
I agree with that. I see like 2-1, 3-2 Houston victory tomorrow. It's real hard to win on the road. I mean, what was it? The World Series 2019, where the road team won every game, the Nationals and the Astros. Funny enough, yeah. I mean, that's not going to happen. So I do see a split series here. But yeah, no, Nick Castellanos is useless. Glad I went on that rant. Rhys Hoskins still irritates the hell out of me because he gets hanging sliders and either looks at them or just completely misses them. Like, I don't know what he's doing at the plate. Neither does he.
He started the rally in the third inning.
That's awesome, man. But he is getting some pitches that he absolutely has to do more with. Like, there's no excuse for it. If I throw you a belt high 2-0 slider and you miss it, and then I throw you a belt high 2-1 slider and you also miss it, why are you batting number 2 or in the lineup at all? I don't. That's fantastic that he had 4 hits that were all home runs. There's a reason he's hitting below 200 in the postseason. It's because he sucks.
Let your anger fuel him, Ryan. It's what you need to do.
Yes.
Just like my anger fueled Yadier Molina to suck even more. So I just have a reverse
Phillies
effect.
fans though, like
Can't really
Oh
suck
God,
anymore,
Logan, I
so.
forgot you were a Cardinals fan. I'm sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I forget that every day too.
Adam Wainwright, baby.
Hey, I was gonna ask you guys as Phillies fans though, does it ever worry? Like, it hasn't come up to bite you guys in a while. I've always been concerned about your defense a little bit, and in crunch situations like this, and it hasn't seemed to really bite you guys at all. Hoskins, I know, got away with it in that series before when he kind of made that bad error there. My advantage was also to the Astros and just small little plays like that. Sometimes the Phillies, obviously you guys are riding higher energies. You're playing. I'm just kind of curious as a baseball fan. What is there something that keeps you nervous? I mean, you guys are on fire right now. So in baseball, that momentum just kind of keeps you going. You guys. I mean, everybody but the Sixers are playing well in Philadelphia right now. So I mean, you guys should just be feeling unreal in general. So, just curious, like, what would be something you're worried about as a Phillies fan with how well you're playing right now?
Strictly with the Phillies, yes, the defense has been a problem in the regular season and even in the postseason. However, the defense has been a problem at first and third base specifically. Alec Boehm made a good play tonight, and it like literally ended a rally for the Astros. And Rhys Hoskins made a couple of good scoops. I'm not saying that they won't have errors in this series because they probably will in like the prime time world they're in. However, they're not as detrimental as the media would have you believe. Alec Boehm only had, I think, 10. Ryan could probably help me on this stat here. 10 errors across the entire season. I know he didn't start the season at third base. What was that?
And 3 of them were in that one game.
Exactly, where he said, "I hate this effing city," and then he owned his comments. Listen, he owned his comments. He said, "Yeah, I was really stressed. I had a couple of errors. I was panicking," and then he took for what it's worth, he got hit by a pitch in the bottom of the ninth against the Cardinals, and was excited about it. Like, "Oh my goodness, I got hit by a pitch. Let's go!" Because it scored a run. It's
So
all
you don't
about
sound
momentum,
concerned
right?
about the defense at all, then.
The defense to me has been such a disadvantage for the Phillies all season. At this point, it's irrelevant. Like, every team is going to play better defense than the Phillies. So,
But they're here.
That's what I thought about. That's what I was thinking. In a World Series like this, it might matter, but obviously today it didn't matter either. So what I mean? I was thinking like those. And if anything, you guys made the better plays. There was that pass ball at the end, but it didn't come back to bite you. So. You know what I mean? So there's like small little things like that. There's just little things. Yeah, I'm just curious getting your guys' opinion on that.
Yeah, listen, their defense has not been great, and I'll admit that their defense has not been great. However, they're in the World Series, so as inefficient as their defense has been, they're the NL champions. Like, regardless of anything else. Also, they're 1-0 in the World Series. So yes, I get it. Their defense has not been prime. It has not been over exceptional. but they've done exactly what they needed to do. And when their defense fails, their offense like excels. Look at tonight; they were down 5-0 and they came back flat out. Like that's an offense that believes like I don't give a crap what's going on. We're gonna score runs, and it happened. You're talking Justin Verlander. You mentioned it earlier, there, Darren. Justin Verlander was on the hill.
Yep.
The Phillies beat him flat out.
You guys are definitely like somebody like their offense is just it's relentless right now. Even if you want to say, Nick sucks, I get it. He sucks. He's still a threat. You can't just lob one over the plate to the guy. So that's just how there's still like that point of it. I got you. I've been there with people too. You just think they could just fucking lob it over the plate.
I know.
I hear you. Like there's those guys on your team that you're pissed about, but you guys, you put pressure 1 through 8. At least with Segura, even there at 8. That's the thing about the Phillies right now. The Astros, maybe you do have an advantage offensively. Maybe I misunderplayed that.
I think offensively, and I said this on our show, the Phillies definitely have an advantage. I think outside of Jordan and Bregman, that the Astros have been horrible hitting in the postseason. They were only hitting 227 as a team, slugging barely over 400. Outside of Jordan and Bregman, I mean, Altuve was 0 for 25 at one point. I mean, Tucker was either hot or not. That the Astros just were not hitting well coming into the World in the slightest. I think the Phillies almost had a clear-cut advantage there.
The Phillies right now, guys, are the better situational hitting team than the Astros. And like I said when we first started the show, Rob Thompson seems to have found the combinations that work 1 through 9. And because they're going up there and they're making great adjustments on 2-strike counts, they're hitting good pitches with 2 strikes. They're working the count as well. That is what makes them, I think, a better offense right now than the Astros. Is they're just a better situational hitting team, and they're doing something that great world champion caliber offenses do. They're putting pressure on the opposing team's defense and the pitching staff to make the plays, but more importantly, to go out there, throw no-hit baseball, and play Gold Glove caliber defense at every position 1 through 9. The Phillies right now, the better situational hitting team, and that's one of the reasons why they won tonight.
I think it's one of the reasons why they will win the series. Listen, the Astros have been here, right? So they're all accustomed to the situation. They're all like betting on how it should go. The Phillies aren't. The Phillies are all, other than Kyle Schwarber, Robertson, and Syndergaard, none of them have been in the World Series. So they're all here going, I'm going to give every freaking thing I've got. And I think it's going to pay off. I really do.
Bryce Harper played in the series in 19 with the Nationals, didn't he?
No, he was not in the World Series. He was a Philly.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I stand corrected. Never mind.
No, that was the big thing back then was Bryce Harper leaves and they won a World Series, and so
that's right. Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
But Bryson Stott, I know he shows up 0 for 3 in the box score with 2 walks. Can we talk about a young man who was a rookie this year and that every time he stepped in the box looked like he'd been there 10 plus years?
Yes.
Every at bat was a grind, man. Whether it was Verlander or a reliever, he worked the count, man. He looked at some close pitches, he fouled some tough pitches off, had some deep at bats. I know it obviously didn't result in the way that he would like it to statistically, but I mean he was a big part of winning. And then obviously Realmuto with 3 very clutch RBIs today. So. But I am concerned for the Astros, like as a Phillies fan, because the Astros starting rotation is just so much deeper than the Phillies. I mean, past Wheeler and Nola, it kind of scares me. So, to be honest with you,
who's your game?
Tonight?
No.
Who's game 3?
Who's game 3 and 4 for you guys?
Ranger Suarez and Noah Syndergaard, which will the game 4 obviously be a bullpen game.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was Ranger, and then he pitched, but I guess he didn't pitch. I guess he only went 2/3.
Yeah, he didn't throw too many pitches. I think that's the game plan with him. I don't know if you remember when Patrick Corbin pitched for the Nationals in the series a few years ago. He did the same thing. He had like a start and 2 relief appearances or something like that.
How likely is it for you? Do you guys think like the Phillies can sweep at home?
I mean, they're undefeated at home at this point. And I don't see why that would change, to be honest with you. I know Ryan and I had this discussion the other night on our show about how all we needed to do was get one win out of our bullpen games, and then or rely the rest of it on Nola and Wheeler. But they're undefeated at home, and Wheeler and Nola didn't pitch most of those games. So honestly, for me, they very well could sweep at home. And I know it's a surprise to hear because the Astros are such a great team. Their pitching is so good, their bullpen is so good, their hitting is so good. But and Ryan's going to argue with me here. So were the Padres, and so were the Braves. And the Phillies still went home and won. I don't care what anybody has to argue with. Like, the Phillies at home this postseason have won. So until they lose, show me something different.
My counter to that is the Astros hadn't lost a game home or road to this point, so it's kind of the same, argument there. However,
the Astros lost the home game.
I have absolutely no faith that we're going to sweep at home. I think that's an unrealistic kind of, pipe dream that obviously would be cool if it happened, but I just don't see it. I mean, between Ranger, who, is only going to give you 5 innings because he's going to get used out of the bullpen throughout the rest of the series, and an actual bullpen game, the Astros are 4 deep in starters, and they have, one of the best rosters in baseball. I absolutely could see the Phillies losing either game 3 or game 4 for sure. I think they for sure lose at least one of those games.
Listen, I said the other night that the Phillies have to win one of those bullpen games because we expect, obviously, Wheeler and Nola to go for games 5 and game 6. So I do expect, realistically, the Phillies to lose one game at home. However, if they win 2, the Astros are in trouble. The Astros are in trouble.
And this is an Astros team that's been, down in the World Series. They've been here before too, so I'm never going to sit here and count them out for anything, especially after that dog fight they just put up after the life had gotten sucked out of them in the game. They were a bloop or a blast away from, the script being completely flipped here. So I'm not – the Astros are definitely a different breed, different than what we've faced so far in the playoffs to this point, in my opinion. I just think that they're a step above these NL teams right now.
I think I would agree with you because their history of winning, they have a belief that they can come back to win some of these games differently. In baseball, you're only as good as your starting pitcher the next day. So I want to, literally, let's keep it realistically. If that's just how it works, you mentioned they have better starting pitching, so that is the argument for the Astros. That's what their belief is going into game 2. Obviously, the Phillies are thinking the same thing. We have Wheeler, blah blah blah. But if you're the Astros standpoint, that's what you're probably thinking is, okay, we got this advantage going forward. And if you're the Phillies, you're thinking it doesn't matter. We're, like Bill said, our bats are just too damn good right now. We're going to overcome anything that you can throw at us. So that's what makes this series very intriguing.
Logan?
I think it is likely. I mean, I was kind of thinking, like, is there an uh-oh moment for the Phillies? Like if they lose game 2 and 3, like, are they like – because, I mean, like we said, there is no real depth to their rotation besides Wheeler and Nola, and they're great pitchers, and they've been dominant most of this postseason. But to rely on them a lot is kind of scary. So I'm thinking, I mean, they can't lose 2 games in a row, and obviously that's a no duh moment. But I mean, yeah, it's going to be rough.
But they don't have the history like the Astros do. We can't say, oh, the Phillies will come back from 2. And that's why we're saying.
Well, yeah, obviously, but also it's going to be hard to do that against an Astros team that is has a lot more depth than you do as a Phillies team.
I want to throw this stat out, right? So when the game 1 is taken in the World Series, there's a 72% chance that team wins the World Series.
I like stats like that because I think that they're almost kind of pointless in the sense
they're
that
they're absolutely bullshit. I'm just throwing it out there.
because the number for who's going to win tomorrow is 50-50, and the game after that is 50-50, and then the game after that is 50-50, because literally anything can happen. We've seen teams win game one and then get swept out the rest of the way. Anything can happen in baseball. While yes, it's nice to grab that early momentum. It's not like the Astros, no offense, Logan, rolled over and died like the Cardinals did.
Oh, I like it.
Which they definitely did, for what it's worth.
I like it.
But like this Astros team like showed that they're willing to punch back with that ninth or the 10th inning, bottom of the 10th there. But I apologize, Logan.
You know what?
Well deserved.
You know the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." That was a lie. Good.
Yeah, that was uncalled for, man.
I mean, yeah, Jason, what's your outlook on the rest of the series, man?
My outlook on the rest of the series is this. I'm going to be interested in three things. Number one, I'm going to be interested to see what changes each manager makes for game two, specifically with the bottom of their lineup, where the bulk of your run production usually comes from sometimes. I'm also going to be interested to see the Phillies starters, how well they do past Wheeler and past Aaron Nola. And number three, I want to find out, I want to find that one player who's going to come off the bench who you don't know anything about and is going to deliver in that clutch moment. I've been around long enough to see guys like Francisco Cabrera of the Atlanta Braves deliver the game-winning hit in the 91 NLCS that propelled Atlanta into the World Series over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sometimes it's the small guys that make the biggest impact. So if the Phillies and the Astros both get into situations where you have a game like tonight, and it goes 5-5 going into extra innings, it may not necessarily be the Bryce Harpers, and it may not necessarily be the Yordan Alvarez's that can get it done. So who's going to make that clutch defining hit or that RBI or that sacrifice that's going to get you the eventual game-winning run? But also the managers, guys, I want to see what adjustments are made by each manager going into game two. Because I said, especially, I've been tooting Rob Thompson's horn a lot because I like the way he manages. I want to see what kind of lineup he puts out there against Framber Valdez. Is it going to be mostly righty dominated, or is he going to shift? Is he going to go right, left, right? What's he going to do? So that's what I'm going to be looking for too.
What he's going to do.
So you gave a very generic answer, right? You gave
March
such a
is going to come
generic
out of
answer.
center field, and Veerling's going to play center against Valdez.
Okay.
Yeah. So Ryan gave you what the Phillies are going to do. You gave a very generic answer. We're asking like what you expect to see for the rest of the series, not what you hope to see. So like, do you see the Phillies in game two taking the win and then going home and sweeping? Like, what do you expect to see?
I actually expect I would expect Houston to come back and win tomorrow. Look, we know this is not going to be a series sweep by either team, obviously. I would expect Houston to come back with a little bit more gumph, maybe win game two tomorrow, but I can definitely see Philadelphia, running the road there at Citizens Bank. So I'm going to stick with Ryan though, ultimately, and I'm going to say the Phillies will probably take this in 6. Does that answer your question?
I don't think
that was perfect.
I don't think any of us think that the Phillies are going to win tomorrow because Houston's just that good of a team.
Yeah.
What if they do though? Like, think about how the series would just tilt.
Oh,
so
it would
Kyle,
be
you
so
laughed at
sweet.
that. Kyle, you laughed at that. Respond to it.
I just thinking because that's a good point. Because honestly, I don't really think they're gonna win tomorrow either. But
Zach Wheeler on the hill.
You guys just don't want to wish bad luck on them. You guys just don't want.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a bit of that too, right? You don't want to jinx it, like you said.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Hey, Darren, we haven't asked for your opinion yet.
Jeez.
I don't know. I just always I don't know. I guess I'm
you're
like
a Dodgers
Rain Man
fan,
or
right?
something. I always have like these weird
Right.
statistics in my head going at just like weird things like I think about and stuff. So I don't know. If they win tomorrow, that would be insane. Like you said, like Ryan said, it would be fucking insane. So
But how do you feel about the entire series?
about the entire series,
Yes.
I think it's going to be really like every game's going to be a battle. It's going to be, back and forth. It's going to be.
But who wins, Kyle?
But who wins?
Yes.
I mean, I think the Phillies will get there. I hope they get there. I'm praying they get there. We need to get there.
Dragged it out of him.
We need this.
I agree
So-
that we need this. Logan, because Darren seems so in tune to try and comment. Logan, how do you feel?
Oh, wow. Oh, okay.
Damn,
Whoops.
that was rude.
Yeah, I was that.
They're from Philadelphia. What do you expect?
I expect
Yeah.
brotherly
Oh.
love, man.
That was rude.
Listen,
Come on,
Li-
man.
I just want peace here. It's just a game to me. No, it's not.
Yadier Molina.
Yadier Molina.
Son of
Molina.
No, I honestly, we didn't talk about it today, but the bloop single by Altuve kind of angered me to no end tonight. The fact that he was 0 for 27 and he didn't run it out and he should have been standing on second. That needs to change for the Astros, honestly. Like, look, I get Altuve is a big shot, but you gotta hustle. And I didn't see a lot of that from the Astros. And it seemed like it was like, oh, it's business as usual. It's a cakewalk. We're gonna sweep. And I think the Phillies kind of kicked them in the teeth tonight. And so I do expect the Astros to win, but however, if the Phillies win tomorrow, it would be such sweet karma, and Kyle Tucker should be driving a little taxi cab, smart car, all the way back to Philly on the off day. Shouldn't even be allowed on the jet. But for Jason, or not for Jason, for Ryan, I will say Astros in 5.
MVP, baby. MVP.
I love you. I'm just a man of the people. That's why I am. Bill is so confused right now. He's like,
Everyone is entitled to their own wrong opinion, and
Bill,
you've just given it.
accept it.
That's fine.
accept it, man. Do what you know. Do what you know. you
Darren,
need.
fire away, buddy.
I like the Phillies to win tomorrow.
Really?
Okay, I assumed wrong.
I
My
had
bad.
the Astros in 5 to start the series, but I also said I had the gut punch thing at the beginning of this podcast. I said I think that makes a difference if you're a favorite and you get punched in the gut. I really do think that makes a difference, and I think Wheeler's really good. And I think as much as I like Valdez, I think Wheeler's good, and I do believe in baseball just being on fire a little bit. And the Phillies, they impressed me tonight. They took me to a different level than I was expecting. I was on Logan's podcast the other day, and I was really riding the Astros high. Saw him a lot this year, obviously being on the West Coast here, seeing him play. But I was really impressed with the Phillies tonight. And I think Wheeler will get it done.
Yeah. So I mean, for what it's worth, in terms of like the baseball gods like choosing a team, right? The Phillies are seriously on that Cinderella story. One of the ones that you wouldn't predict last year or this year, even they would not have been in the playoffs had it not been for the new format. They beat a team that everybody predicted they would not beat to get into the NLDS. They get to the DS and they beat the Braves, who won the World Series last year. Again, a team they were predicted to not to beat. And then they get to the Padres, who had just won 2 series against teams they should not have beaten. And the Phillies win. It's just like one of those Cinderella stories that are like bigger than baseball, right? So like we weren't supposed to be here, but we are, and we're going to give you everything we've got. And they've showed that tonight. Like, yes, we were down 5-0. Who cares?
Jason, you tweeted something at me. You said, "What did the Phillies show me tonight?" What did I respond to you with?
Hold on a second.
Wait,
Where they should be.
Hold on.
I want to know, so hurry it up. Let's go.
Just patience has its virtues, man. Hold on. I know, not on this show, right? All right. So what was it I tweeted again to you?
You said, "What did the Phillies show me tonight?"
I think. Well, let's see. There's the tweet. Best fucking catcher in baseball. I said Will Smith.
You said, what are the Phillies doing?
Oh yeah, that's right. You said proving that they belong here, or something like that.
Yep.
Yep, that's right.
And they did exactly that tonight.
Yep.
Two-
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I actually meant that tweet in tongue in cheek. I didn't mean that to poke any fun at the Phillies, but I'm just like, the reason I said that is because it doesn't matter who throws the pitcher out there on the mound against the Phillies. They don't give a rat's ass if it's Justin Verlander, if it's Framber Valdez, or if it's Fergie Jenkins or J.R. Richard. They're going to go out there and swing the bats and swing away any chance they can get.
Two things that were kind of overlooked. Bill already mentioned one of them. Both happened last offseason. The first being that there was a sixth team added to each side of the playoffs, Phillies being the last team in the playoffs in the MLB. They get a benefit from there. Number two, the NL gets a DH. Why is that important? Well, if they didn't get a DH, Bryce Harper's season's over in May. Doesn't play not another game.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't get Castellanos and Schwarber.
Yep.
So,
I mean, I could have lived without Castellanos for most of the season, but Schwarber was definitely big.
he's the greatest fielder of all time all of a sudden.
I'll tell you what, man, if I get a couple more of those, I'm good. I'll be like, I'll stop. If I get about two more of those catches, because he made a good one against the Braves too. So if I get two more of those, I'm satisfied. You know what? You don't have to hit, dude. It's fine.
And hey, look, let's throw some. Again, I'm going to toot Rob Thompson's horn, guys. I have a man crush on Rob Thompson, all right? Let's give the guy credit. He's the first interim manager since Jack McKeon of the Florida Marlins to take a team to the World Series. Because if you remember, McKeon took over for Jim Leyland for the Marlins in 2003, led him to the World Series. Here's Rob Thompson. Did you guys, Bill and Ryan, did you guys honestly think that when Joe Girardi got fired, that Rob Thompson was really going to be this successful, or was he just going to keep the seat warm for somebody else?
As successful as he was, no, I figured he'd be better than Girardi because it was hard to be worse. I mean, Girardi, the only reason Girardi had a job for so long was because he rode the talent that he had in New York. He didn't manage it well. He managed it straight into the ground. I mean, they should have had so many more playoff wins than they had, but he's just not a good manager.
Yep. Bill?
Oh, Bill's muted.
Yeah, I can't hear you, Bill. You're muted, buddy.
Yeah, Bill, nobody can hear you.
Maybe it's better that we don't hear you.
Ouch. Gosh.
Wow.
Man. Wow.
Up on this show?
This is so violent.
We
Yeah,
talk
right?
smack out here on the West Coast, guys. We don't pull punches, man.
But
I guess.
yeah, but I just, it does seem like that there's a bit of destiny to it. And I mean, even being an Eagles fan, like I still don't know how much I believe in that destiny stuff. But this is going to be a dogfight, man. There's going to be, I would be shocked if any of these games ended up by more than 3 runs apart. Neither one of these teams wants to give up. I think that there's going to be some serious bullpen usages in these games.
Hello.
There you
Hi,
go.
man. How are you?
Oh, hello. Yeah, no. So to go back to our previous question about when Joe Girardi was fired, if I thought Rob Thompson would have the success that he had, no, absolutely not. Did I think that he would do better than Joe Girardi? Yes, obviously. You're talking 21 and 29 at the time Girardi was fired. I hoped that Thompson would do a better job, but you're talking a playoff appearance, the World Series appearance. No, there was no way to predict that. So no.
And not that I'm sure he doesn't care, and I personally don't necessarily care about individual hardware, but the fact that he's not even a nominee for NL Manager of the Year award is kind of disgraceful.
He should be.
Who are the finalists? I know it was Buck who got it.
Showalter, Dave Roberts, and Brian Snitker.
Dave Roberts shouldn't ever get it. I'm sorry, Jason, but the Dodgers are kind of like their own machine right there. They fire. It's not really even a Dave Roberts. Like Dave Roberts goes, "Oh, give me this all-star."
You're not going to get any argument from me on that.
Oh
one,
yeah, I
Logan.
forget you hate Dave Roberts.
It's a, you know what, Logan, among Dodger fans, it's a love-hate relationship with Dave. We love him one game, hate him the next. Kyle, you've been quiet down there, man. What do you think, buddy? You're in my lower left panel. What do you think about Rob Thompson?
What was the question about?
Rob Thompson. Did you honestly think that Thompson would do this well as interim
Oh
manager?
hell no, dude. I mean, honestly, like, for me, this whole season is pretty insane because, I was actually up until recently working in all the stadiums or whatever in Philly, and when my boss was telling me that we might had a possible playoff game, I was just laughing my ass off. I was like, "Yeah, okay, we'll see about that." And then here we are now in the World Series, you know. So
Nice.
absolutely
All right.
insane.
So let's do this real quick, right? Let's the six of us. Ryan and I have already given our World Series predictions. So Jason,
Yeah.
how do you feel about the rest of the World Series? Give us who you think will win and how many games. Jason first, and then I'll announce the other ones.
I'm sticking with Ryan. I'm going to go Phillies in 6, and I'm going to be so bold as to say your World Series MVP is going to be Alec Boehm.
I hope you're right, man.
Yeah, me too.
Logan, fire away, buddy.
Astros in 5.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I love you too.
Darren.
I had the Astros in 5 going into it. I'm going to change it now. I have the Astros in 7 now going into it. I still think you guys. I want to just take that because I took it at the beginning, but very impressed with the Phillies after tonight. Very impressed.
And
Honestly,
I let Ryan go because for
Kyle?
me,
No.
I honestly,
Ryan and I can talk for like 45 minutes. Like Kyle, you go.
for me, honestly, I mean, this team scares me. So it's like I don't want to say that the Phillies are going to win, but I want the Phillies to win. You know, like honestly, I think it's going to go down to the wire. That's what I really think.
So 7. Who wins? in
Yeah,
7?
I think. I feel like it could go either way, but like I just feel like it's going to go down the wire, and I feel like the Phillies are going to win. You know, just because I just have this feeling.
what really matters is that Logan said Astros and 5s. That's
You
all.
are so welcome.
But Darren, I mean, to say that like the Phillies were impressive from you, who I've never been on a show with, but you just have that voice. It's like, wow, I'm really impressed with you. Like, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It means a lot, and it brings a tear to my eye. You just have that awesome voice where I should be impressed with the fact that you said the Phillies were impressed. I don't even play for the Phillies, and that just brings a warming feeling to my heart. So
He was impressed with the Athletics last year, so we shouldn't
No, I
take it
was
too.
not. I was not. Bullshit.
I'm sorry, Darren.
That's because Darren is an authentic A's fan. That's why.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yes,
One of
thank
the
you. That
only
sign
ones
was
left.
from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
all 6 of them.
He was the one in right field.
Are you still gonna root for them when they move to Vegas?
Oh, dude, come on now. Unnecessary cheap shot. Unnecessary. After having to go through that with the Raiders already, you son of a. Yes, unfortunately, I would still root for him, Brian. Thank you very much.
Glutton for punishment.
Jeez.
Ryan, do you have anything else before we sign us off?
No, man. I just want to thank all you guys for coming on here. Yeah, it was a pleasure, man. I think this is like the most we've ever had on a show at one time. But yeah,
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah.
I can't expect that we'll do this after every game, but we will definitely be having a World Series recap. Obviously, Logan and I will be talking about it every game. Now, if the Phillies do some crazy shit and win tomorrow, maybe I'll change my mind. Who knows? But we'll play it day by day. Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate that. Also,
Yeah, it was fun as
more thing.
always.
One more thing.
Oh, gosh.
Red October. All right. So thank you for joining us here on BSing Sports, where we do a lot of BS and we talk a whole lot of sports.
Have a good night.